ID, happy birthday. How you doing? Um, I this is a compilation of all of the topics that would come up for the paper 2 GCSE Foundation Maths for Edexcel. This is very late because I don't really have the time to do another recording, but you know, I hope it works. Let's get right to it. If you are in need of that revision as well, and you're trying to cram and get in as much revision as you can before tomorrow, then welcome as well. I am Angelo, and let's get to it. This is based on the topics that came out on paper one. These sheets are from online, like stuff that you can get yourself. Mostly it is from PMT, Physics and Math Tutor. There's some other stuff from mathster.com um, and First Class Maths, but I will put it on the description at some point in the future. I don't know if I can put it on like now, but here we go. Let's do it. So this one is for ratios. Piece of wood is of length 45. The length is divided into the ratio 7 is to 2. So in here, this is one of the basic types of ratio and proportion questions where you're given the total amount and then you're going to split it. So that's it. How many parts are there? It's 7 parts and 2 parts. So it'll be 7 plus 2, 9 parts in total. And they amount to the full piece of wood, which is 45 centimeters. So that means that 9 parts is equal to 45 centimeters. And the main thing that you would do in ratio and proportions would normally be finding the value of one part. All of the parts are the same size or same magnitude. So in here, we divide by 9 to find out what one part is. And 45 divided by 9 is 5 cm. Now, that's our guide. We have 7 parts to 2 parts, right? So in here, 5 times 7 would give you the first part, and 5 times 2 would give you the second part. So 5 times 7 is 35, and then 5 times 2 is 10. And if you add that, 35 plus 10, you actually would get 45 centimeters. So yeah, those are the 2 parts that was cut. In here, this is the same thing. Let's go and try maybe this one. Melissa is 13 years old. Becky is 12. Daniel is 10. M, B, and D share 28 pounds in the ratio of their ages. So when I'm writing ratios like these, I like to just normally they make it easy. I just write the first letter in the thing that it represents, so M, B, and D. Normally they don't write stuff that has the same starting letter, which is good. Um, and the 28 is again something that they're sharing. So this is the total amount. Again, if we add all of these, you got 13 plus 12, that would be 25, plus 10 is 35 parts. So the 35 parts is equal to 28 pounds. So if you divide by 35, divide by 35, you would get 1 part is this. Now, you can divide this using your calculator, or you can maybe simplify it. 28 divided by 7, 35 divided by 7, you get 4 over 5. So that is 1 part. If you use a calculator, you'd find that it's 0.8 pounds. per one part. Um, and here it says Becky gives a third of her share to her mother. So that means that we need to find out Becky's share. Becky has 12 parts. So that means that if one part is 0.8, we need to multiply that by 12 to find out what it is. I think let's make that slightly smaller. Although, can you still see it though? I wonder. Maybe there. That's fine. There. Can you see it? I think. 0.8 times 12. So this is 9.6. This is a calculator paper, so use your calculator. I'm always for mental math, but you know, if you're allowed a calculator, use the calculator. Just or at least if you are going to do it mentally, make sure to do like put in a couple seconds of checking using your calculator just to be sure that you get all the marks. Okay, so 9.6 or 960 pounds is what Becky would give. Becky gives a third of her share, so that means that she will be left with 2/3. So 1 whole minus 1/3 is 2/3. So what is 2/3 of this? Maybe let's put arrows to show the flow of our working out. So 2/3 of 9.60. That is just 2/3 times 9.60. Easy. So we have 9.6 in our calculator already. So just times 2/3. There you go. 32/5 or 6.4 or 6.40. Normally I would circle like middle answers and I would put a box on the final answer just to make it easier for the examiners to see what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so there is that. Next, I think we need to go over, yeah, this one, something like a fraction. So the ratio of girls to boys, so I normally again write down the first letter there, girls to boys, because the order matters. The order definitely matters in here. Now, what fraction of these students are boys? So the total parts is 5. This doesn't mean that there's only 2 girls and 3 boys in the school. Just means that that's the relationship. For every 2 girls that they have, there'll be 3 boys. So in here, since we're only doing fractions, we can do it like this. So what fraction of these students are boys? So it's 3 for every 5, or 3/5. That's already simplified, so just plug it in. For fractions that you are not sure if it's simplified or not, just plug it into your calculator. And if you plug it in, like let's say, I don't know, I'll put in something that's definitely not simplified, so like 10 over 15. If it changes, so for example here it's 2/3, then that is the simplified form. But for our answer in here, like 3/5, if you hit equals and then you still get 3/5, then that means that it's already simplified, right? So here in year 8, the ratio of girls to boys is 1:3. Girls to boys. There are 300 students in year 8. Okay, so this is basically the same thing. I'm gonna have to skip this. I'm looking for that one type of question where you're kind of going backwards. Yeah, here we go. So Pat and Julie share some money in the ratio 2:5. So Pat and Julie, P and J. There you go. Julie gets 45 more than Pat. So the 45 in here is not the total amount that we're going to split anymore. It is the difference in between them. Now, looking at just the number of parts, Julie has 3 more parts. Okay, that's the difference. And apparently that difference in pounds is 45 pounds. So that means that 3 parts is equal to 45 pounds. Now, to find what the value of 1 part is, then we divide by 3. So 1 part is equal to 15. You can use a calculator there. Now, the question is, how much did Pat get? Pat apparently got 2 parts, so just multiply that by 2. So it'll be 30 pounds for Pat. Okay, you need to make sure that you understand what you're being given. In the earlier questions, you're being given the total amount. In here, this is the difference. Sometimes you will be given one of the things, like let's say they gave you how much Julie gets, and then you would go backwards. I think they should have something here. This is like, is it enough type of question. I was thinking there was something like that in here. Or maybe I just missed it. Okay, let's just change this question a little bit. Okay. Okay. So let's just say that Beth got 12 sweets. All right. And then, so you already know what that is. And then the question is, how many sweets would Amy and Colin get? Let's say that was the question. Okay. So it's A, B, C in here. Amy, Beth, and Colin. Looking at the ratios, Beth got 3 parts. Okay, 3 parts. And we know that that corresponds to 12 sweets. Now we need to find, it's always that, to find the value of 1 part. So we would divide by 3 in here. So 1 part is equal to 12 divided by 3, 4 sweets. Now Amy would get 2 parts. So 4 times 2 will be 8 sweets for Amy. Then for Colin gets 4 parts. So it'll be 4 times 3. Sorry, 4 times 4. 4 sweets, 4 parts. 4 times 4 is 16. There it is. So something like that could come up as well. Now, I think we should go to averages first. This one. I don't know if you're gonna do that. Okay, this one. So let's explain first again, just quickly for those who are still kind of for these frequency tables. So normally you would get the actual numbers for the data, but sometimes it will be in table form. In here, what does the 29 mean with respect to the 2, right? In here, Rosie had 10 boxes of drawing pins. She counted the number of drawing pins in each box, and the table gives information about her results. So these are the number of drawing pins in each box. And the frequency 2 means that there's 2 boxes with 29 drawing pins each. That's what it means. So the number of drawing pins in those 2 boxes together would be 29 times 2, right? And then same thing in here, 30 times 5, and so on. To find the mean number, you basically have to add everything and then divide by how many, right? And in here, that's what we're going to do. We're basically trying to find out the average number of pins per box. So we're going to multiply here. 29 times 2 is 58. 30 times 5 is 150. 31 times 2 is 62. And 32 times 1, of course, is 32. Again, definitely just use the calculator for this. Make sure you type it in correct, though. So this is 12, carry 1, 5 plus 5, 10, 16, 17, 20, carry 2, 302. So this is the total number of pins. Now, we're going to add the frequency, and we already know that there's 10 boxes, right? There would be, it depends on the context, the names in here would be different, but the basic flow of the steps for finding the mean is going to be the same. And here we're going to do 302 divided by 10, which is going to move the decimal point 1 to the left. So it'll be 30.2 pins per box. Okay, so on average, each box would have around 30.2 pins, okay, per box. Oh, it said how many in a box, so I suppose that is understood. It's fine. Okay. So that's basically that. Yeah, mode. So that's all that word right there also trips some people up. Like most of the time they're used to seeing mode, but not modal. But I mean it means the same thing. Um, it's the thing that came up the most. Okay? You should always pick from the things that you're measuring or you're counting, not in the frequency column, okay? You don't do that. So in here, 20 students, I'm almost always just circle the total just so that I know that. If you add all of this, you get 20. 20 students scored goals for the school hockey team last month. The table gives information about the number of goals they scored. So what does this mean? 1 and then 9. That means that 9 students scored 1 goal. 3 students scored 2 goals and so on. So the modal number of goals scored, so we're going to pick from here. Which one came up the most? That right there, okay? Do we put 1 or do we put 9? We put 1 because we are counting the number of goals. The 9 in there just is how many times it came up, okay? Not 9, it's 1. Work out the range of number of goals scored. So the range would be the difference between the maximum value minus the minimum value. Again, not of the frequency, but the thing that you're measuring, which is, again, the goal scored. The maximum is 4 and the minimum is 1. So 4 minus 1 is 3. So that's the spread. It's around, it's not around, exactly 3 away from each other, the minimum and the maximum. Mean number of goals, again, you just multiply everything. 1 times 9, by everything, I mean this. 2 times 3, 6. 3 times 5, 15. 4 times 3, 12. So 9 plus 6 is 15, plus 5, 20, 22. And then 42. So 42 goals and 20 students. So the mean number of goals would be 42 divided by 20. I can simplify that to 21 over 10 if I divide the numerator and the denominator by 2. And if you divide by 10, it'd be 2.1. So on average, everyone scored 2.1 goals each. You definitely, again, do not need to do mental math. You can just plug in 42 divided by 20. Actually, you should just plug it in straight. Now in here, this is not a normal frequency table. This is a grouped frequency table. And what is different in here is, let's read first. Bob asked each of his 40 friends how many minutes they took to get to work. The table shows some information about his results. So the 3 in here and the 0 to 10, what does that mean, right? That means that 3 out of the 40 friends that Bob asked took between 0 and 10 minutes to go to work. Now, we are getting to the point where we are only estimating the mean, because in here we don't know what the actual values are, the raw data we say. It could be because there's an or equal to in here, or m is less than or equal to 10. It could be that these three people took 10 minutes each, like 10, 10, 10, in the data. It could be that all of them took 1 minute each, or like one of them took one of them took two, one of them took three. We don't know. So what we're going to do in here is we're going to estimate. We're going to go halfway. These are called classes, by the way. So what is between 0 and 10? It'd be 5. But if like you want to be sure, and I mean, you can't do it in your head, then the halfway point between two numbers is basically just add them and then divide by 2. So for example, the number between 10 and 20, you go 10, actually do the fraction form, 10 plus 20, and then divide by 2, and then you get 15, and so on. But I mean, I think you would find the pattern to that, where maybe you put the first 2 or 3 in the calculator, but after that you're probably going to get the pattern. So this is 5, 15, 25, 35, and 45. So we're going to assume that in here, in this group, that these three people took 5 minutes each. So we're going to multiply them now. So this first group, on average, took 15 minutes in total. And then 15 times 8 would be 120. And then 25 times 11 is 275. 35 times 9 is 315. And then 45 times 9 is 405. Again, don't do this. Put it in your calculator. Wait, let me just check. Let's check if Mr. Math Guy has okay. Okay. I'm kind of doubting myself a little bit here. 25 times 11. 35 times 9. 45 times 9. All right, I'm good. Okay, so 15 plus 120 plus 275 plus 315. Make sure you're typing it properly. Plus 405 is 130 minutes. So this is the total estimated number of minutes taken. And the frequency would be 40, because there's 40 friends. So the estimated mean will be 1,130 divided by 40. So 130 is already in our answer. So I just go straight divide by 40. You get 113 over 4. So you got 28.25 minutes on average for each friend, each person. That would be it. I think we should also check for, the median. So what is median? Median sounds like middle. So it is the middle value. So if you have, let's say, I'll give you an example. So you got 2, 3, 7, 10, 12. There's 5 things in here. So if you have an odd number of objects, an odd number of things, there is an actual middle object. So if you have 5, then it's the third one. That will be the middle. But what if you had 4 things? So there is no middle object. There will be 2 things that are in the middle, and you'd have to go halfway in between those 2 to find what the median is. There is also a formula in here. I don't think it's going to come up in the formula sheet. The position of the median, not the median, just the position, like where it is is going to be given by this formula, n plus 1 divided by 2. N being the number of things that you have. In this case, we have 5 things. So you go 5 plus 1 divided by 2. And 5 plus 1 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. So that means that the third number would be the median, which is 1, 2, 3, there. That's the median. Some people do this, like tick 1 at the beginning, tick 1 at the end, tick 1, and then the middle will be right there. That also works, although if it's quite a lot, then it's a bit tricky. Let's put one more. So now it's 6 in here. So it'll be 6 plus 1 divided by 2. So that'll be 7 divided by 2, meaning 3.5 is the 3.5th term in here, which doesn't quite make sense, but it basically just says that it's in between the third and the fourth. That's all it's saying. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll be halfway in between. It'll be right there. What is between 7 and 10? So you just do 7 plus 10 divided by 2. That's 17 divided by 2. So it'll be 8.5. That will be the median in this case. Okay. All right. That's just an example. Now, how do we do that in here? How do we find the median? What we're going to do is put in another column, an extra column for the cumulative frequency. And this is going to help us. So for this first space in here, these will be the people who took 0 to 10 minutes. So of course it'll be 3. And then for the next one, it'll be the people who took 0 to 20 minutes. So it'll be 3 plus 8, 11. Now for the next one, it will be the people who took 0 to 30 minutes. So basically just all these. But we already added the first two, so I just add the 11 to that. And that would just keep going, the pattern. 22, and then 22 plus 9 is 31. 31 plus 9 is 40. You don't necessarily have to go all the way, but anyway. That's a 40 friends. So where is the median? It'll be n plus 1 divided by 2 again. Our n in here is 40. So 40 plus 1 divided by 2. So you got 41 divided by 2. That's 20.5. So it's in between the 20th and the 21st term. The first, what do you call this? The first class in here contains the first to the third, so you can see here. The second class contains the 4th to the 11th. We're looking for 20.5. And here, this one contains the 12th to the 22nd. So that would be in there, okay? So that means that if we're asked, what is the median class? Normally that would be the question. Median class, that looks like DAS. Median class. So it will be, since we found the median in here, so it will be 20, like that. So you need to just copy it exactly. So the number of minutes is greater than 20, but less than or equal to 30. For the estimated mean, I think we already did that. Yeah. So that's the median class. Sometimes they would ask you what is the modal class? And since this has the highest frequency, then that would be the modal class as well. So this is not always true, but normally the modal class and the median class would be the middle class. So, I mean, don't take my word for it, but it's normally the middle or somewhere near the middle, which is the case in here. You still have to check though. You still have to check. Right. I think that would be it for that. What is the next one? Compound interest. I think frequency, I think let's just skip that for now. Because I put in so many questions just to account for all of the topics that might come up. And then I was thinking I'll just pick some for the video. So in here, this is compound interest. So what is compound interest? Um, I'll explain it in here. Toby invested £4,500. So that's the initial amount. And then he left it there for 2 years. He was paid 4% per annum, annum meaning year, compound interest. How much did Toby have in his savings account after 2 years? So what that means is that for every year that passes that you have that amount of money in there, it would increase by 4% per year. So whatever 4% of 4,500 is, you add it back to it, and that will be the amount after 1 year. Now, if you're adding 4% to something, so you start with the whole, right? 100%. If you're adding 4%, so that means that whatever you get at the back end there, well, whatever you get after you do that is 104%. So you would now get 104% of 4,500. So how do you find 104% of something? You would multiply it by the 104% in decimal form right there. So if you multiply by 1.04, this thing would give you the amount of money that you have after 1 year. But what about after 2 years? So you would increase it again by 4%. So that means that you would multiply by 1.04 again. Now this would be the amount of money you would have for 2 years. But what about if we wanted 3 years? So you're going to multiply by 1.04 again. So the formula in here basically is this. So the future value is equal to the present value, which is the 4,500, times 1 plus the rate or the percent in decimal form, which is 1.04 in our case, and then just raised to the number of years, or compounding periods, but normally it's just going to be years. So that's that. So knowing that, the shortcut for finding our solution will be 4,500 times 1.04 raised to 2, because you're going to multiply by 1.04 twice. So that's what we're going to do. Just be careful in typing it in. Where's the calculator? So you just go 4,500 times 1.04 squared. And then that's it. Always, if you're writing your final answer and it's money, you would write it down with 2 decimal places. So just add a 0 there. So you got 4,867.20. Sometimes they would ask you, what is the interest, which is basically how much did it increase. So if they asked you, what is the interest, then you would find the amount after the whatever number of years they say. And then you would subtract the initial amount. So 4,867 minus 4,500, which would give you 367.20. And this would be the interest, which is basically the change or the amount of money added to the original. Okay.